For the Las Vegas Raiders to succeed in the 2025 NFL season, it's all about what they do on offense. I'm confident in Pete Carroll's ability to coach defense, and I trust Patrick Graham too. But I'm not totally sure about the offense. I believe the Raiders struggled in 2024 mainly because of issues on offense. Antonio Pierce, who isn't a bad coach, did well with defense, but the offensive side of things just didn't work out. Luke Etsy didn't do a good job running the offense. This year, we're in a similar situation with Chip Kelly as our new offensive coordinator. What gets me excited about Chip Kelly is his approach. After listening to him speak and watching his past work, I'm feeling positive. Chip's offense is smart. He uses concepts like spacing, mills, and scissors, which show that his players know exactly what they're doing. The receivers and tight ends understand the cuts they need to make, and that's all thanks to Chip Kelly's experience in setting up offenses. He's done it successfully at Ohio State, UCLA, the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Ducks, so he knows what he's doing. In his recent press conference, Chip gave us a glimpse into what the Raiders' offense could look like this season. I'm actually pretty excited because I think the Raiders are going to be a good team this year, and I believe our offense will do well. In this video, we won't dive too deep into Chip Kelly's offensive strategies just yet. I'll make a separate video tomorrow to break it all down for you, but I've been a bit under the weather and had a family loss recently, so I've been a little behind. But I'm looking forward to getting into Chip Kelly's offense soon. Now, let's talk about some of the things Chip Kelly shared in his press conference, especially regarding the quarterbacks. There's a good chance the Raiders will go into the season with Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. Let's talk about that next. One of the interesting questions asked was about the crossover from college to the NFL. Chip was asked if he could bring what he did in college and make it work in the NFL, and his answer was pretty interesting. I've spent 7 years in college football since my time in the NFL. Do you think what you did in college can translate to the NFL? Are we seeing more of what college football offers offensively in the NFL now? Chip Kelly responded, "Football is football. I've heard people say, if you weren't there when the game was first invented, you're just borrowing ideas. Football goes in cycles. Offenses get ahead, start scoring a lot of points, and then defenses catch up and start shutting them down. You'll see some plays in the Super Bowl that were first run at the high school level. I think Andy Reid is great at watching football at all levels, and I do the same. Football flows from high school to college to the NFL. Good schemes in high school get copied in college, and then some of those are copied by the NFL. Thanks to social media and YouTube, people have more access to film and can see what's working all around football. So, yes, I think the game is blending more, especially with quarterbacks running the ball more in college, and now we're seeing Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen doing the same in the NFL. It's really wide open now, and I'm excited to be at this level, facing the best coaches in the world. Chip Kelly is saying that a lot of what coaches do is simply copying what's working. If something is successful, other coaches will adapt it into their own systems. This is a huge part of being a coach, seeing what works and using it. For example, Ben Johnson and Andy Reid run plays where receivers pitch the ball to a running back or a tackle. They didn't invent those plays, but they saw them work and used them in their offense. A big part of coaching is adapting. You have to watch what other teams are doing and take what's working for them and use it for your own team. Unfortunately, some coaches don't do this. For example, Luke Etsy, who worked with the Raiders, tried to stick to one style of offense that he believed in. But the best coaches know when to adjust. You have to know what works and what doesn't. A great example of a change in the NFL is the duo run concept. It's an old idea that's come back in the past few years, and it's taking over the league. The duo run concept works well against defenses that play two safeties deep and don't crowd the box. The offensive line can easily find 4 to 5 yards on every play, and that's why teams are running it more and more. The duo run concept is taking over, but some coaches still refuse to use it. The key is adapting to what's working based on what the defense is doing. We saw this when Patrick Mahomes first came into the league. He was throwing for 400 to 500 yards a game, and the Chiefs' offense was one of the highest scoring we'd ever seen. But as defenses adjusted, the Chiefs did too. Now, they're playing a bit differently, but they've still found success because Andy Reid adapted along with the changes. For Chip Kelly to succeed with the Raiders, he needs to understand this concept of adjusting to what works. Chip's offense has changed a lot since his time at Oregon. Back then, it was all about high-speed, no-huddle football. Today, that's not his style anymore. He's adapted, and I really respect that honesty. Chip Kelly admits he's taking what works from other people and using it. That's the key to success in the NFL. But he's also got to figure out how to make his offense work with the quarterbacks he has. For the Raiders, that's going to be crucial. Who will be the quarterback? How does Chip make the offense fit them? Chip was asked about this in his press conference, and here's what he said. "Hi, Coach. My name is Alex Selman from Channel 13 Sports here in Las Vegas. Congratulations on your new role. What are your initial goals stepping into this role? And can you also talk about the quarterback room? What do you hope to add, and how will you utilize the current talent?" Chip Kelly responded, "I just got here, so I'm getting set up to look at film and analyze the personnel. I'm working with the personnel department and Pete to get this thing together. Right now, the main focus is staffing. That's a big part of starting a new job, getting the best staff in place for the Raiders. We'll be diving into personnel soon, but right now, it's all about staffing. We haven't discussed much about what the personnel will look like or the direction we'll take." At first, Chip didn't say much about the quarterback situation. He's mainly focused on staffing right now. But he was quickly asked a follow-up question, and here's what he had to say about the kind of quarterback he needs for his offense. "What does a prototypical Chip Kelly quarterback look like? And what do you need from the quarterback position to make your offense work?" Chip answered, "It depends on the personnel. We're not in a lab where we can create the perfect quarterback. 6 feet 5 inches, 250 pounds, runs a 4.4, and can make every throw. You have to look at what's available to you, whether that's through the draft or free agency." Chip Kelly believes that the quarterback who will work best for the Raiders depends on the players already on the team. He says it's all about evaluating the available talent and designing the offense around the quarterback's strengths. You can't just make a quarterback fit into a pre-made system. The offense has to be tailored to what the quarterback does well. Chip shared his experience in the NFL, where he worked with Nick Foles and Mike Vick. Foles had a great first season, throwing 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. Vick, one of the best athletes to ever play, also had a chance to show his skills. But when Vick got injured, Nick stepped up and the team had to adjust. It shows that success depends on being flexible and adapting to what your players bring to the table. For Chip, it's all about putting the players in the right position to succeed. If they have weaknesses, it's up to the coach to cover them up as best as possible. Ultimately, the success of the offense is about the players, and Chip wants to find out what they do best, then make the most of it. This brings us to an important point for the Raiders this season. The quarterback we go with could very well be Gardner Minshew or Aidan O'Connell. While fans may hope for a big name like Cam Ward or even Shader Sanders, it's realistic to expect that these top quarterbacks will be off the board early in the draft. If the Raiders wait for a second or third-round pick, the quarterback they choose likely won't be ready to start right away. So, if the Raiders do stick with Gardner Minshew or Aidan O'Connell, Chip Kelly will need to adjust his offense to their strengths. We saw last season that when Luke Getsy ran the offense, it just didn't work. Whether it was with Justin Fields, Aidan O'Connell, or Gardner Minshew, things weren't clicking. But when Gardner Minshew played with the Indianapolis Colts, things were much better. The Colts have a great head coach and play caller which helped Gardner Minshew win 8 games with them. It's a big difference when you're under a different system, even if you're the same quarterback. This is something to think about for Chip Kelly and the Raiders. He might stick with Gardner Minshew or Aidan O'Connell and adjust his offense to fit their strengths. With the right scheme, these quarterbacks could have a lot more success than expected. Take Aidan O'Connell, for example. He's got a great arm and is accurate, making all the right throws. While he might be a bit limited in some areas, he's good at reading defenses and putting the ball where it needs to go. In Chip Kelly's offense, Aidan could surprise us and turn into a top 10 quarterback. It's not guaranteed, But the chance is there if Chip designs the offense around what Aiden does best. For another example, Jared Goff has played for two of the best offensive minds in the NFL, Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. With them, Goff has had a great success, making it to the playoffs. But with other coordinators, he's struggled. This shows that a great offensive coordinator can elevate a quarterback's performance. While Chip Kelly may not be as famous as McVay or Kyle Shanahan, he's definitely better than some past coordinators. He's far better than Luke Getsy, for example, and can definitely help a quarterback succeed. The Raiders might not need to go out and get a new quarterback. With the two they already have, Chip Kelly could design an offense that suits them. In his own words, Chip Kelly says he's not looking for the perfect quarterback, the one who's 6 feet 5 inches tall and runs a 4.4 40-yard dash. Instead, he plans to design an offense that fits how the quarterback plays. It'll be interesting to see how the Raiders adapt their offense this season. From Chip's time at Ohio State, we know he likes to keep things simple but dynamic with motions and shifts before the play. This can help the quarterback read the defense more easily. So, the Raiders' offense could get a big boost under Chip Kelly. I'm really excited for this season, and Chip Kelly was asked one more important question. He was asked where he thinks he's grown the most as a coach and play caller. I want you to hear his answer, and then we'll talk about it. Here's what Chip Kelly said. "That's a good question. Sometimes you don't think about it, but I think I've grown by trying to stay on top of the game and where it's headed. For example, we huddled more this year and didn't run as many plays. From the head coach down, we had a great vision for how to handle a 16-game season and manage player load. We also used sports science to help us. This is a huge change from when I was at Oregon, where we focused on running as many plays as possible and trying to get guys to sprint to the next play. I think the game has evolved, and there's a trend where the number of snaps is down in both college and the NFL. So, I've had to adjust. I went from running a fast, no-huddle offense with 5 wide receivers to a more balanced offense with 12 personnel. It's different, but you still score the same way whether you run or pass the ball. The goal is to get first downs and score points." So, basically, Chip is saying that he's staying on top of the game and adapting to what works. He's not just sticking to what worked in the past. At Oregon, he focused on fast-paced plays, but now at Ohio State, he uses more huddles and mixes it up. This is great for a play caller. You have to grow with the game and realize that what worked 10 years ago might not work now. I love that Chip Kelly is honest about his growth as a coach. He recognizes changes in the game and has adjusted his strategy. It's important for a coach to grow with the times, and a lot of coaches fail at that. They have success early but don't adapt, and their performance fades. I really like what I've heard from Chip Kelly, and I'm excited to see how this all plays out on the field. On paper, things look great. The Raiders are definitely heading in the right direction. Moving from Antonio Pierce and Luke Getsy to Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly is a huge upgrade. You're just naturally going to be better because both of these guys have proven themselves at the highest level. The Raiders are in good hands now, and as a fan, you should be excited too. I'm pumped for this season, and I hope you all are as well. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the next video. I'll see you all soon.